So at the end of the day, if Congress fails to pass immigration legislation, who is to blame? Let's ask our panel. Christina Hagan, an Ohio congressional candidate, Adriana Cohen, Boston Herald radio host and syndicated columnist, and back with us, Roy Murdoch. Adriana, let me ask you, I don't know, to me it seems that this is an area of compromise. I think President Trump offered an amazing deal for Democrats. I'm not sure why they didn't take it, why they haven't accepted it, even with some minor tweaks. So where are we looking now in this potential blame game?
Well, there's no doubt about it that President Trump did offer a great deal. He offered the ability for over 1 million dreamers to stay in this country and have a pathway to citizenship. This is what they want, and President Trump is willing to give it to them in exchange for some border security and ending chain migration. This is a no-brainer, and I cannot believe that the Democrats would not support this, because as you know, Charles, so many Democrats in that Gang of Eight bill in 2013, they supported border security. They supported extending the border fencing by doubling it. They supported E-Verify. They supported ending the lottery system. So they already support the things that President Trump wants, but because it's him, right, they don't want to give him a win. So it's all political, and they're throwing all these dreamers under the bus because of it.
Christina, there's no doubt if there is no deal by the time the midterm elections come around, it's going to be a central issue. What are you telling potential voters?
Absolutely. So this continues to be the reason why Washington is broken. This illegal immigration issue is symbolic of how they fail to act, regardless of how reasonable the compromise is that's put in front of them. And because we keep having this illegal immigration issue, we're unable to act on all of the other issues that matter to Americans, like the $23 trillion in debt, the fact that our veterans have not received the appropriate services that they need, the fact that we've not been able to have appropriate regulatory reform. We need people in Washington, D.C. who are going to act quickly with mandatory E-Verify. They're going to work hard to end chain migration. They're going to do all of the common sense things that are necessary, like building the border wall, to ensure that we address these issues so we can move forward and combat things like the opioid crisis in Ohio.
DeRoy, immigration, big topic, of course. It gets merged, right? The left likes to merge legal immigration with illegal immigration, obviously two distinct different things, but we're talking about a path to citizenship that should have been the ultimate sweetener here.
Yeah, you think it would have been. And the original deal over which the Democrats shut down the government would have been just the 700,000 or so DACA recipients. President Trump went further and said, we'll do 1.8 million. And the response to that was that this was trying to make America white again. And this is a racist proposal when he almost tripled the number of people who would have benefited from this. I think I like the idea that John Thune has offered, which is you extend DACA for 3 years in exchange for 3 years of wall funding. And perhaps once the wall is finished, then the DACA recipients will be put on a path to citizenship. Of course, going to the very back of the line, so nobody who's in the line now would be cut off.
Adriana, so is there still a chance, though, that should we write this whole process off, or could this just be part of, the negotiating process? And we've got one deadline, and then, of course, you've got courts who are getting involved. So maybe it doesn't all come to an end in 2 weeks.
That's right. So the March date now is moot because of these two judges that have filed injunctions. They are temporarily blocking the Trump administration from ending DACA. So that's going to buy Dreamers time until about June, although it's possible that the Supreme Court cannot take this up until September, in which case they get even that much more time. But it's very possible that the Supreme Court could find DACA unconstitutional, in which case they overturn the Ninth Circuit, Court of Appeals, which would be put Democrats in a much weaker position to negotiate because they've lost their leverage. And so I think they'd be smarter to get on board now and maybe try and carve something out that they want, instead of taking the risk that the Supreme Court finds it totally unconstitutional. Then they have no leg to stand on.
Christina, from what I've read, your opponent has tried to sort of use this issue against you in different ways. And of course, DeRoy mentioned, every time this comes up, there's calls of racism. How do you combat that?
So I think it's very simple. The president has proposed very simple solutions that were similar to those that were proposed several decades ago under Democrat administrations. This is about common sense and defining and protecting our borders, ensuring that we have American safety prioritized in this nation. I think recognizing that terrorists have come in through the dangerous diversity visa lottery system should be a common sense solution and initiative to understanding that we need to do these basic reforms that have been talked about by both sides of the aisle, regardless of who is leading our administration.
Right.
But we need to have congressmen and women who are willing to act and fight for their constituency to ensure that America is safe and that we have also a positive immigration system that's based off of merit and improving our economic status in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say all of that, those sound like common sense solutions, but I guess in D.C. nothing is common sense. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Coming up, the Dow and S&P, they extended their gains for a sixth straight day. It was a phenomenal week, but what's going to happen next week? Let me try to set the stage for you when we come back.